Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Talscar, and I'm here about a week later from the day that this game, Plants vs Zombies Gun Warfare, was released, with some awesome news. The sunflower is awesome news, by the way. Brace yourself, I have unlocked every sunflower in the game. Now, I will tell you a little bit about how I got one of them, in particular, because not many people will know. First of all, let's flicker through to see what we do have. We have the Mystic Flower. This flower is very, very powerful if it's used correctly. You just have to know how to use it. We'll review this after we've had some gameplay, which we have already. We're going to use it in Gun Ops as well as the others for this one special edition video for the audience to watch. Now we have the sunflower, which is the power flower. This one shoots electricity and will electrocute not just one, but multiple enemies around her. She's good for an area effect for when you shoot one zombie, it will link onto others nearby and damage them. It is weak though, so I don't expect it to kill them very quickly. It's designed solely for the purpose of doing DPS over a group of zombies, not just one. Now we have the sunflower, which is actually incorrect. What I mean is, it's the fire flower. I've got a lolly in my mouth. The fire flower's main purpose is to damage a target by setting it on fire and making it burn over a duration of time. So while you're shooting her bullets at a zombie, the zombie will be taking damage also from the fire she's dealing to it. Mostly designed for an area effect like on multiple zombies, but for single target DPS it does a pretty good job. I don't know what I just did. Next we have the Shadow Flower. The Shadow Flower is not really that strong, but is very, very fast. In comparisons to the normal sunflower, this one shoots at an incredible rate that it's probably the fastest flower out there. Apart from that, she is not very strong. She does about the same amount of damage as the standard flower, about 6 and 7 at the mid-range area and closer. But it's a pretty good flower for what it can do. Good for PvP, considering when you're going PvP, people are moving around, flying like pea shooters, making it hard for you to fight back. Next we have the Metal Petal Flower. This Metal Petal Flower, apparently it's a little bit slow when you're walking, but I haven't actually taken notice of that. But it has an incredible amount of armor that would equal a chomper. This sunflower has 150 health once it's maxed out, especially. I don't think anything here includes on its health, but it has 150 health when you first start using it. Pretty much it matches a chomper's strength. It's not very strong, but it's good for being a tank and you want to fight back fairly. Solely for the purpose of going in crazy mode and surviving a little bit longer. Treating it like you have 75 health instead of 50. It'd be perfect for going in crazy mode. You get the extra health. That will save you a lot of the time anyway. Last but not least is my personal favourite, the Sunfarrow. The Sunfarrow is probably the most damaging out of all the sunflowers. It shoots at an intense velocity, but it's a burst fire weapon. The burst fire means it's going to shoot 2-3 bullets, and its average damage is about 11 to 15. Close range is about 15, but it's pretty powerful. Take off a zombie's head normal with one shot. Because it does 15 damage is its max, maybe even 16. I haven't seen 16, mostly 15. I'm just going to say it's 15, okay, guys? Fine. Because it does 15 damage. If you times it by 3, you get 15, 30, 45 damage per shot at the same rate as a pea shooter. It's much more powerful than a pea shooter. And I gotta say, I love her pretty face. Okay, let's go to gameplay. Just to quickly show everyone that it is all the sunflowers, there is the standard one, and then there's 6 others. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 0. We'll be doing them in the order using the sunflower first and doing them in the exact order that they're played out in, as fire flower, power flower, shadow flower, mystic flower, petal flower, sun pharaoh. And that's all we're going to show, because this is the special video towards saying, yay, we unlocked all the sunflowers, and because we are level 10. And because you guys are probably going to love to know some information about the sunflowers, which probably you wouldn't know which one's the best. But I'm going to point it out to you soon enough. When choosing your sunflower, you need to know some of the things about it that you can and can't do. For one, I'm running up into the enemies and trying to fight them like this. It doesn't really work, considering if you have them right on you when you use abilities or something along the lines of using your abilities, you're gonna have some little nasty problems, such as they get too close and then you can't actually kill them. There's some good things and bad things about the abilities of the sunflower, but that doesn't matter because at least we know that the sunflower does work. Commonly it can be used for healing, such as to make a tether that links onto your fellow plants and keep them alive. Other cases, well, let's just say your buddies need you more when you can revive them. The maximum damage, as we can see, is 10 from the standard version of the sunflower. And that's pretty decent considering it's a sunflower. As you can see here, we're healing for 2 points to this pea shooter. And we're damaging these guys. The one thing you gotta worry about playing sunflower is how you're going to survive. Your tether only is one way. So how do we do it? The tactics are simple, really, when you're playing sunflower. So for the basic one, we're only showing its damage and its abilities of them. This is where we're going to use it, for the Zombomb, wherever he is. We're just going to get up close enough that we don't get too close enough that we die. And we're going to use the abilities of the sunflower to start destroying him. As you can see, it's not very strong, but it's doing the damage. What's the good thing about tanking up as a sunflower is you can actually heal your own flower plant, and it will keep you alive as well as you keeping hit. It's one of the major requirements if you're going to fight at close range or take hits or whatever. It's not very good to go up against these guys with a sunflower. More than likely you should use a cactus, or maybe even the chomper, which is the strongest. But other than that, that concludes how the sunflower works, what it has to offer. And now we're going to be moving on to the next plant. The fire flower is most powerful when being used against zombies in either small or large groups. Even the strongest zombies are easier to take down using the fire flower. It gives me a chance to shoot some, run around and find some others. This is on normal mode, just to remind people. And this is to show a bit of an example of what the fire flower is really capable of. I might miss some, but at least I know I'm gonna damage others. Using it in short bursts isn't a bad idea, but it's much better to use it on full fire rate. Its damage is supreme in comparisons to some other flowers, such as the power flower, and the dark flower, and the standard flower. For those annoying ones that like to fly and shoot rockets, you can use this with ease and probably damage them enough that you can kill them. Power flower is very, very powerful. Even though it might not be the most powerful flower, it is still lethal, and much greater than the standard flower alone. We're gonna quickly show you two things if possible, and one of them is to show how good it is against the Zombog. It's not supremely the best weapon, but it's very lethal. Especially when you're on your own and you've got to fight all these other zombies and you don't want to be bothered just shooting one thing. The fire flower is very capable of high damage and killing enemies very quickly. As you can see here, we've already got him at half health and he's only halfway. This concludes one part of the next two parts of the little part series for Sunflower. The next one we'll show will be the Yeti in combat. We are starting this wave and have finally gotten our first Yeti about an hour later. And we're going to be showing you the effects of the fire flower in action and how it can be helpful towards fighting the Yeti. First of all, we have to wait for the Yeti as he might not come out straight away. So for now, let's fight the Gargantua and take him out, because he's the most hardest and annoying on the field at the moment, aside from the Yeti. We're gonna have to stop these zombies. They're gonna take out the base and then we'll lose the wave. As far as we know, this is the wave of the Ice Yeti. The Ice Yeti is a very, very powerful enemy and can be easily taken down using the help of our friend, the Fire Flower. The Yeti's strength is to freeze you, but his weakness, well, that's to be burnt. The idea is to stay as far away from possible from him, but also keep near walls so you can jump back in case he freezes you or something. Right now the Yeti is flanking or trying to fight us from behind a barrier. Don't let him stay that way. Because it's fire we're using on the Yeti, he should be burning and taking more than just this damage that we're dealing to him at current. And because he's also got fur and he is ice, he should be melting, taking bonus damage from that fire. And now, we have successfully shown you how the sunflower, the fire flower, can be used against the Yeti. Now we're moving on to the power flower. For the power flower, we're going to be showing how it can be used effectively. This is mostly best for crazy because it's only got one certain way of fighting, and that's to fight groups of enemies at once. As you can see, we are actually shooting multiple enemies at the same time with just one single hit. The only effect other than group damage is to take out machinery very quickly. This can be used and be beneficial when trying to take down any of the teleporters that are placed or any medical facilities made by the zombies. We'll be able to show you some engineers, but it's still not going to be as effective due to some lack of power. As you can see, it's very, very weak, but when it's in a group, it's very lethal and can be the ultimate weapon if used in the right area, location. Other than that, this flower is not the strongest. It's probably one of the weakest flowers there is. Especially if you're hoping to survive with this flower, you're gonna be in for a load of shock. This flower is not very powerful, but if used correct manner, it can be very effective and efficient, even if I'm not. Maximum damage seems to be about 6 and 7, so it just goes to show you for the last time that this is not a very good flower to use. Okay, we have a marathon wave, and we're showing for last time how this can be effective and how it cannot be effective. Because of how many zombies there are in a marathon wave, there'll be so many zombies that you won't be able to avoid hitting anything. About a 3-4 meter range, and it does the same damage to all zombies in the area. This is the only time it will ever be effective, so it's technically pointless unless you're taking down such things as the teleporters and the medical facilities. The strongest weapon you will have as a sunflower at this stage for using, aside from the main weapon of the power flower, is the sun power. It's faster rate of fire, and it deals a lot more lethal damage. It's a single target DPS, but the other one is an area of effect DPS. So anyone looking to take on groups of enemies at once, this will probably be a flower for you, but not the flower for you, considering its downsides as well as its upsides. Here's some gameplay on a bus wave with the power flower. You'll be able to see its damage against bosses, and see that it is effective to some degree, but this is normal mode, so don't forget. As you can see, it's not really damaging the Gargantua, but it was damaging the other guy. We're about to take out the teleporter over here to prove that its strength is towards teleporters. As you can see, it's just taken it down even though he was shooting it. This weapon seems mostly for close range combat, but it will work in long range. Unfortunately, that's the way the sunflower rolls. Death, you cannot avoid it. We are now doing the dark flower. Now, the dark flower seems to be the most fastest, but is it really? Its darkness makes it feel so much stronger in some degree, but others, it's pretty much the same as the standard flower. Its damage just seems a little bit stronger at close range, shooting for brains, but yeah. You see, it makes you almost think it's an imitation of the original sunflower in the game. Just a dark version of it. With a little bit more damage. Other than that, what is its special purpose? Who knows? Maybe it's to take down an enemy's weakness that we don't even know about. Such as bosses. It could take down bosses such as the Yeti, or maybe even its own type of boss, which is dark. Apart from that, this is not the most strongest flower in the game, but it still packs a wallop and it makes it feel so much faster being dark. In fact, it's making me rethink and say that it actually feels slower than the original sunflower. The sunflower's beauty is just as good as its damage. You might want to reconsider thinking about and dropping this and going for the strongest flower, because you may like its beauty more than its personality. We're gonna have to find its strength and its weakness someday, but for now, this is its strength and weaknesses as far as everyone would know. It's still a pretty good flower, even though it's not the strongest. It lives a bit longer than the power flower, but don't expect it to last forever. Let's go see if we can take down a Chieftain. And that went down so smooth and fast, we may have just found its strength. Or maybe just jumped into our death. But for now, that is the dark flower. And we'll be moving on to the next flower. And now we get to destroy a teleporter. It's a shame. Because this flower is just about to die. And we never even got to say thank you for your sacrifice. Oh, that's no problem. Never mind. We now have a Yeti, a Juggernaut, and a Disco Ball Man. And it's going to be a combo wave, it's going to be tough. We work as a team, and we fight from a high. They don't really like this, but this is their problem, not ours. Considering they're on their own down there and we're on our own up here fighting back, we're pretty much gonna beat them. Our friend down there is gonna be in trouble because he's gonna be getting chased a lot by the enemy. This is normally a position where I'm forced to retreat from my penning house and revive my mates. But unfortunately, my pen house I have abandoned, and my buddy didn't let me revive him. And I was killed because I'm slow. Well, it doesn't matter. Considering Epic Ninja Stack, or whatever his name is healing me. Ruin some luck. The only bad thing is, I can't fight this Yeti. I'm gonna have to defend our flag just to keep us in the game. But I'm gonna be killed this very second because I cannot defend. This has been Dark Flower, and now we're moving on to the next flower, which is probably gonna take a guess, and it's the Mystical Sunflower. So yeah. We're about to get to test out the Mystical Sunflower's magical power. And it's very, very effective. The power of this is massive when used correctly. The incorrect use of this flower, and you're not going to get the maximum effect out of it. As far as I know, this flower is the ultimate area of effect weapon. This weapon is so powerful at the moment, it seems like it may be the most powerful sunflower. But, is it really the most powerful sunflower? We still have left the Pharaoh flower and the Metal Petal flower. Though powerful in some areas, it still lacks one thing. The life expectancy of the flower. I'm pretty sure that by everyone looking at this flower, they're thinking, oh, it's magical and powerful and ultimate. There's only one downside to this power, and it's to be charged first. Charging takes a little while, but once it's charged, it's very powerful. It'll be good when used like a rocket launcher and fired at the right times, because it'll get around corners and blow people up. Other than that, do you think it's the most powerful flower? We have one of three options. Those one of three options are the Mystical, the Metal Petal, and, more importantly, the Pharaoh. It has sheer power when used at long distances and fired directly at the opponents. And due to this, it's probably one of the most effective flowers there is. Although it's my first time using it, it's pretty powerful. I feel like two Disco Zombies. This weapon seems to be doing the most damage I've ever seen. Would I use this flower in PvP? Would I use it at all? The answer is yes. Even though it's not the most powerful seeming flower to me, and it most likely is the most powerful even though it doesn't feel it, it's still one flower that I can't refuse. I mean, you gotta change eventually and use something different. But even though this is my first time, I'll admit, I like the sheer power that it has towards zombies. How it can take out things really quickly and easy. But to find out, let's keep watching. See you all next for the Metal Petal Flower. This is the Metal Petal Flower. It can take a lot more damage than other plants, such as the sunflowers, which is what I meant, by the way, I'm sorry. It's just finding words is a little bit hard, but anyway. The Metal Petal Sunflower is the only flower with 150 health or higher than 100 health. Its damage is strictly prohibited because of how tanky this guy is. I mean, literally, look at his health. He has 150 health. This makes him a very unique flower when it comes to tower defense. This is the final flower. It's the Pharaoh flower. The Pharaoh is one of the strongest flowers in the game. Its incredible damage can deal between 10 and 15 damage per hit. This flower, in my opinion, is the most overpowered flower in the game due to its long-range power. Its close-range power is still just as good, even though they state that the weapon that this flower takes cannot go that far. It's designed for mid-range and long-range attacks, not short-range, like Chomper. In my opinion, this is the most overpowered flower in the entire game. As we saw, the Mystic Flower was very powerful when coming up in very big groups of enemies. The Power Flower was only good when there was loads of enemies nearby, but otherwise would not be very useful. Fire Flower was good for hitting some enemies, looking away, and they die while she's shooting another enemy. The Shadow Flower, well, let's just say it's an imitation of the original flower with just a little bit more damage. The Metal Petal Flower, it's a tank. What do you expect of a tank? To do more damage than a normal person? Or a normal flower? And the Sun Pharaoh, my personal favorite, and the most powerful there is, does a lot of damage. Overall time played, 8 hours, 18 minutes, 04 seconds. Now let's compare it to the others. The second longest is 04, 40, 48. And our normal one, 16 hours, 24 minutes and 21 seconds. Making the newest flower, the strongest one, come second best on top of the normal. If we exclude the normal, she is the best. Kill death ratio is 1.22. 1.89. Now, we're looking at this from some perspectives, as we have only taken these in to mostly the populated games such as Garden Ops. So this explains why we have such a high kill death ratio. 30 vanquishes 125 times KO'd 94. And this flower 132, 30 vanquishes 60. I mostly use this to keep people alive, not to fight back. So that would be my excuse. Thanks for watching. Have a good night now. Please share this with your friends if you enjoy it, and like it if you did.